Irvingman, watches shows sitting on his can. Tells a story, tells a joke, monetizes cause he's broke. Look out, here comes the Irvingman.
The second season was somewhat less than thrilling for most viewers, but since it was Spider-Man, we persisted in watching, and that's why the show got a third season. You may notice from the title that we're doing some things differently this time. We have 2 stories per episode rather than just 1. Now, we've seen in other shows that longer is frequently better because you give yourself time to tell the story properly and fill in all the gaps. Based on what I'm seeing this season, I'm guessing Ralph Bakshi either didn't understand that or didn't believe it. One thing that didn't change over the entire course of the show was the theme song. As far as I can remember, it never got played on the radio, but that didn't stop the whole country from walking around humming it, singing it to ourselves. It's just so catchy that, as we know, it endures to this day. It was one of those rare moments in music when everything comes together to form something bigger than the sum of its parts. Nobody knows how it happens, and for my money, that's a good thing. We humans need mysteries. If all the wonder is gone from life, what's the point? Spider-Man is patrolling the city, but everything is quiet.
Well, one more patrol, then Spidey goes Betty-bye.
Yep, things are so boring, he decided to play a little game of the floor is lava with himself. But about that time his spider sense starts going off. Something is happening in a nearby high-rise. Okay, these BDSM games are getting out of hand. How is he supposed to say the safe word like that? Oh, it's a robbery. And for the first time in almost a year, we have an actual Spider-Man villain. That's something else new for this season. Hey Spidey, you missed. But he didn't. The Vulture was never one of my favorite villains, mainly because I couldn't buy the basic premise about his wings. But I have to admit, the voice fits the character nicely.
I must teach that meddling insect fear. I must teach the whole city fear. They will respect a man with wings.
The villains never learn that he's got 101 ways to handle a fall like that. The Vulture gives the whole city an ultimatum.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Vulture wants people to stay off streets. Says he controls city, read all about it.
That used to be a real thing, especially in a huge city like New York. I lived in Stockton, the town I call California's armpit. It wasn't big enough for that stuff, and the local paper probably didn't have the resources to print extra editions anyway. Most people are taking the warning seriously and staying inside, but there are always the defiant ones.
What's going to happen, Mr. Jameson? Do you think we should go home and...
No, I do not. I'm not going to let a Birdman tell me what to do. Besides, I'm sure Spider-Man will be able to... Don't mention that word around here! What are you doing in my office anyway, Parker? You're supposed to be taking pictures for me. I'm running a newspaper, not a jam session. But what if I can't find the Vulture, Mr. Jameson? Don't worry. You will.
This one requires a little explanation. When I was about 16, I saw one of those ads for a correspondence course in cartoon art in one of my comics. I answered the ad, sent in my sample with the little coupon and all that, and eventually talked my parents into buying the course for me. It was good stuff. It went step by step, drawing different objects. It had assignments and all that. I had my own personal instructor that I sent my drawings to for evaluation. I had to drop it when I went into the Army and never went back to it, but I remember lots of things from it. The relevant one here came from the chapter on drawing faces. They spent a lot of time on chins, oddly enough. One of the examples was of an old man with a bad expression, and it was labeled Mean Old Chin. take off the mustache, and I swear it looked just like this. That's why I can't stop laughing at this image. I actually found that page online, but I'm not willing to give some unknown outfit my credit card to download one thing, so I can't show it to you. You know the deal. They always say, oh, it's free for the first 30 days and you can cancel any time. Except they never tell you what it takes to cancel, and then they hope you forget. I won't do business with a site that does that. It's borderline dishonest. I stay away from that border, thank you. And I digress. There are those whose livelihoods depend on not being off the streets, so they're on the streets.
Spiderman! Excellent! It's time I finished him for good.
Shouldn't that be for bad? Finishing someone off isn't a good thing to do to them. If you're confused right now, you're right. They spar for a while, but one of Irving's rules is the bad guy always goes for a weapon first. In this case, it's a very big weapon, a crane.
He cannot defeat me, but I cannot defeat him yet. I must think.
Oh, dude, that is way above your pay grade. You have the money available, hire someone to do it for you. Peter only got one picture, and it's not very Bugle quality. For that matter, it's not very Peter Parker quality.
Sorry I couldn't get any pictures of the Vulture or Spider-Man, Mr. Jameson.
Better to have no pictures of the Vulture than to have any of Spider-Man.
There'll be lots worse if the Vulture isn't stopped, and soon.
He will be. I've just received information that the Air Force is going to test out a new experimental midget-guided missile. If it works, it'll bring down the Vulture in no time.
Over the city they intend to do this. Missiles only perform one true function: blow something up. How much junk will rain from the sky as a result, and how many people will be injured or worse from it? That's not our department. But it's not likely to happen anyway. Why, you ask?
I have known of their missile for a long time now, and I know of something else too. That in an hour, a special device is to be transported via helicopter to the Manhattan Research Lab. A tiny little device that can control animal behavior.
That has what to do with the missile?
A little device which I wanted for a long time, and now can get. Once I take their rocket, I will become a pirate of the air. I will hijack the helicopter, and then I shall control an airborne army.
It has everything to do with the missile because he knows how to take control of it. He says a man with wings can listen at any window, pick up any secret, including how to work that thing. And with that machine he mentioned, he can control all the birds in the city. He may have forgotten that he tried this before and it didn't turn out so well.
Vulture, time for Spidey to join in.
Take a picture first. By this point in the comics, he had a miniature camera that he clipped to his belt. Before a fight, he would web it up someplace overlooking the battle area and set it to automatic. The resulting photos are why Jonah puts up with him. Nobody else could possibly get the shots that he does. The best part is, their deal forbids Jonah from asking how he does it. File that little tidbit away for a few episodes down the line. Ever wonder where the Green Goblin got the idea? Or did he steal the idea from the Green Goblin? Either way, the threat of the missile is enough to make the men in the helicopter hand over the device.
I've done it! I've done it! Once I attach the animal controlling device to my head mask, I'll be king of the air animals! One particular type! Vultures!
That was a case full of diamonds. I don't think they're capable of controlling animals, but they might enable him to buy such a gadget. Heaven forbid we utter those awful words. Somebody goofed.
They found the missile. The Vulture had abandoned it.
This is a job for Spiderman! He climbs to the roof to confront the Vulture.
Got to stop him.
Idiot insect! You can't!
Okay, that didn't work for either of them. Now what?
I still don't believe it.
Well, that the Vulture's birds turned against him?
Once again, at least metaphorically, when it's time to wrap up the story, the villain just falls down. Or, in this case, his army turns against him and chases him out of the city. Why? As if we get to know. Remember what I said about longer being better? This could have benefited from being the full 20 minutes because we have gaps galore. I skipped past them, but there are big sections where we see people's mouths moving and nothing comes out. And then we get a Deus Ex Machina with the birds to resolve the conflict. And in the end, all we have to show for all of this is Jonah ranting.
Spider-Man defeated the Vulture?
I don't think he did anyway. I think the birds did.
Then what don't you believe, Mr. Jameson?
That Spider-Man returned the money!
It's not the first time he's done that. It was nice to see a familiar face for a change, but with the new half-size format, the story is not that well done. We didn't get to see any resolution of anything. We didn't see the Vulture steal that thing from the helicopter. He approached it, then we saw Spider-Man do some stuff, then suddenly the Vulture was leaving the helicopter with the case. We got to see the birds chasing him away for a whole 3 seconds almost. In a word, it's lazy. We use lots of static shots, the repeated footage is back in full force, and the only really good news I can find is we have a genuine villain straight out of the Spider-Man comics. Will he be back? I don't know. I haven't gotten that far into the season yet, and as I've mentioned before, I remember nothing about the second and third seasons. If your comments are any indication, I'm in the majority. Self-time. He says, my voice has almost reached puberty.